Hi, my name's Andrew Henley from Surrey Motoring Law. A question people often ask me, and I thought I would run a little video on it so I wouldn't have to keep explaining it to everyone every time I meet them. The difference between a solicitor and a barrister. First of all, I'm going to tell you the traditional model, and then I'm going to tell you there's a new model, a new regime, so there's two different elements. First of all, historically, the best way to think about it is if you had a problem, a legal problem, the first person you go to is your solicitor. Traditionally, you'd probably go down to the high street, speak to the solicitor. He would take your details, he would consider the area of law, he'd probably take a statement from you and figure out all the legal issues. If it was straightforward, he or she would probably deal with it by themselves. If there was any complication, or if, and we're thinking traditionally here, if you had to go to one of the higher courts, then the solicitor on your behalf would instruct a barrister, and the barrister is a specialist, he's a specialist advocate. Traditionally he had rights of audience, in other words he could appear in the higher courts, and also his specialisation that he's chosen would be because he has particular knowledge or expertise in a given area of law. So with that traditional model, let's just put it in a practical context. Let's say you have a road traffic matter. Let's assume it's a complicated case involving complex insurance issues. You would have gone to your high street solicitor. He would have taken you on as a client. He'd have taken all the details of you, and then having identified that there's an area of complexity, then he in turn would have instructed a barrister, and the barrister would either written an advice or gone to the lower or the higher courts to represent the client, you, through the solicitor. Now that's the traditional model. A few years ago, things began to change in the legal field. Solicitors who were specially trained had rights of audience, or were granted rights of audience in the higher courts, which means, go back to our example, that a solicitor could take details from you, and then he didn't have to go to a barrister if the matter went to the Crown Court, for example. He, the solicitor, could represent you at the Crown Court. And as that began to take place, the barrister side of the profession, realising in a sense solicitors were encroaching on their area, and then barristers who received particular type of training could then take instructions directly from the member of the public, for example you. So you no longer have to go to a solicitor to instruct a barrister. So let's go back to your complex insurance case. Rather than go to the high street to speak to your solicitor, you can come and speak directly to someone like me, who's a barrister, who's received training in how to deal directly with clients, and then you can avoid going to the solicitor, avoid incurring a second or separate amount of fees. So come directly to me. If I have expertise in your area of law, it means that you can cut out the middleman, avoid those additional fees, as I said, and come directly to the person who's the expert. So the traditional model, think of the solicitor as your GP, your general practitioner, think of that as a parallel, and then the barrister is the consultant who has specialist skills who you go to. And now the two areas are beginning to sort of join together, because solicitors now have advocacy rights, they can go to the higher courts, barristers can take clients directly, and for you as a member of the public, it's good if you can identify the right lawyer for you, but it does involve this extra layer of complication. The traditional model is still there, because if you go to a solicitor, and if he needs a specialist advocate or advice, he does and will still go to a barrister. If you as a member of the public came to me as a barrister and wanted advice, and it was my professional view that you were better off having a solicitor, I would advise you to go to a solicitor. Or if I thought there was a particular area of your case that needs the assistance of a solicitor, I would send you, or we would instruct a solicitor for that purpose. So again, for making the decision whether I need a solicitor or a barrister, if you can find the barrister that has your area of expertise and can deal with you directly, that may be advantageous to you. Or if you think you need a more general practitioner, a solicitor might be the best person for you to go to. As with all things, information is key. That's why I've thought about putting on this short video. More information is available to you at surreymotoringlaw.com, and don't hesitate to give me a ring. And thanks very much for watching.